Damien Hinks and Bears Village Aquaponics, and we empowering independent food production in Barbados. So today we want to talk about the history of aquaponics and in my limiting understanding of the thing, I can kind of tell you what I pick up along the way. So when you research the history of aquaponics, is kind of go back to to the Aztecs, where they would have created some little artificial islands out of floating plants, and then they would have planted the plants on top of them in the river, and they would have grow good. And the plant material would be decomposing, and the raft providing nutrients. Also, the water would have got nutrients in it, and that would have been a reasonable food producing mechanism at the time. Uh, the history of aquaponics and these topics, you see, because aquaponics is so food production, aquaponics is food production, and because food production is a basic need, you just find that is intertwined into all aspects of society, and to get a clear cut history of aquaponics is very difficult to do. Uh, However, the concept of aquaponics in that you're using water that got in fish manure is actually the basis of food production. The first civilizations would have been on the riverbank of the Nile River, and that's an aquaponic type situation that give birth to civilization itself actually. Uh, but you see, aquaponics being so broad is when you're studying aquaponics, you can always look for a discipline in science that accurately that has done scientific work on what you want in order to better your knowledge in aquaponics. Like example, uh, in science, the riparian zone, which is the zone in the ecosystem where we will call a riverbank. The soil bed that right next to the river is called a riparian zone. So by studying that or that in science, you could kind of get ideas for the management of aquaponics or in aquaponic systems. So aquaponics is basically just an ecosystem, the same ecosystem that we surviving in on a smaller scale and a more closed loop because it's a smaller scale. An ecosystem containing plastic. That's what aquaponics is. It seems to be like a roundabout thing, but the modern version of aquaponics, which is aquaponics utilizing modern scientific techniques. Most of the work would have come from University of Virgin Islands. They have an excellent aquaponic program to which I have never went. I will go for, uh, you know, to get certified or whatever. Um, they kinda is the people that popularize the scientific aspect of it. Now, the backyard aspect of aquaponics, most definitely the boom of backyard aquaponic systems in the late 90s, early 2000s would have come directly from Australia, a website in particular called Backyard Aquaponics. There's a forum on there that has in it. This is a time before social media really took off, when the internet was still in that golden phase. where information was shared freely and the users were not actually commodities like how Facebook is. So everybody used to go on forums, freely share information, that kind of thing. And to my knowledge, the forum over at Backyard Aquaponics is still operational. So you could go on there and look and see. And the thing is, because people posting the information is easy to find and in a chronological order. And so in Australia, right, because we're talking about the history of aquaponics. So in Australia, what would have happened is, I think it was the late 90s, it was like a drought and a serious, serious water restriction on everything. And this couple, S&S Aquaponics, would have started a media bed type system and show it and thing. And then a guy named Joel Malcolm would have, and Joel Malcolm from actual backyardaquponics.com. He sold it and would have come up with some aquaponic kits. And then there were people like William Hallam and those type of people. And then there was the guy that IAVs is the acronym for his company. But he would have been pushing sand culture. So there was a kind of war in the beginning between sand culture and media beds. And the media beds type went out. And now we're seeing the evolution of notably Paul Paul van der Wert, a guy that came on and was a very strong advocate of medium less, the medium less component of aquaponics. And that's kind of when the Americans really start getting into the scene too. So the up until then, a common acronym would have been KISS, which is Keep It Simple Stupid, would have been prevalent in the online aquaponics forum. And then when the Americans come in, Americans got a certain flair to them that they right. So I was talking about the Americans got a flair that there's a pizzazz and a access to materials and equipment that the Australians didn't really have. So people like growing power, growing power with, I can't remember the guy's name right now. Ex football player, I think he is. Growing power. There's a classic example of. There's a classic example of saying it once here. Like for instance, a big problem in aquaponics is people is start small to grow big, right? So there's design a system with a 275 gallon fish tank, right? Which is the water depth is less than 3 feet. And they get the numbers and things from that. And then they go in the business plan and rate and create this business plan based upon the small system and they just scale up the fish tank. However, when they scale up the fish tank, they scale the volume of the fish tank, not taking into consideration the depth. So what's happening is that's chip measurements off by a lot. Cause if you just okay, if you take a 3 foot depth, 6 foot diameter container, you scale it up. On paper, what's happening is it can scale up to, let me say, a 6 foot depth container and a 12 foot diameter tank. But however, what really happening is when you do it in real life, you don't go into 6 feet depth, you're going to 3 feet depth. So that's offset the calculations all the time. That's just a classic newbie beginner mistake. So certain things like water flow dynamics don't work how you calculate it. and is it'd be a simple mistake on paper, but has very major real life consequences. Now, getting back to the topic of the history of aquaponics, um, aquaponics is actually a subset of hydroponics. How aquaponics, modern aquaponics, born was looking for a way to reduce the impact of fish farms, freshwater land-based fish farms, on the surrounding environment. So basically, the guys would have met a wetland marsh and just dump the fish effluent onto the marsh and let the plants grow. And then somebody realized, hey, if we're growing these type of plants, we can also grow food. And that idea spread through the world at the speed of the internet. And it took over. And it's something interesting they also notice about aquaponics is that aquaponics didn't follow the traditional channels in consumer products. In that, what we're trying to say is before the aquaponics is one of the first major shifts in thinking about a process that has not been refined by the educational system first before coming into the public's view. I mean, when you think about it, the average kitchen of today got him more technology than would maybe Isaac Newton and then guys had access on a regular basis. These guys didn't have microwaves. They had LED lights. They may had sterilizing equipment. I mean, like as simple as it is, and these are things that are in an average kitchen right now. All right, sorry about that little interruption there. Kind of forget what we was talking about, but the the way in which the knowledge of aquaponics was spread, the academic elites did not get enough time to, or did not get as much time as with other products in the development stage of it. So what happened is because the modern people got so much, and I believe there's the first and only time in the world in which the the ability for a farmer to set up a aquaponic food producing system is going to be this cheap right now. Certain technologies come onto the scene that make it financially viable, in my estimations, in the last 5 or so years. Namely, rotomolding technology has been around a while. It's a very cheap way to make food safe water tanks. All the plastic technologies that was online for some while, but now coming together to give the average person the opportunity to own and operate these type systems. Uh, One big technology that kind of push it into commercially viable field is the mic drive pump, and in specific the Jabo DCT line of pumps. That's because these DC pumps, variable speed drive, variable frequency drive pumps, very small, very energy efficient. You gotta check them out, and it's kind of like 100 watts to 1,500 liters or 1,200 liters, something like that. So that that's basically the history of aquaponics. There is some contention between what aquaponics is exactly, and that's the topic for a whole other video. uh, there's a issue in describing what aquaponics is, because some people will say is a soilless type system. However, when you look at the definition of soil, which is a combination of sand, silt, and clay, some, I guess a mixture of people will say medium less, but if you got clear balls and then you got organic matter from decomposing roots and fish waste mixed in there as well, it is a type of soil. So when they say soil less, I that all depends on your definition of what soil is, because any type of media could be deemed soil or have soil-like properties, or as I was saying earlier, if you go back to the studying of the riparian zone and then you take the knowledge that was acquired in that specific scientific field and apply it to aquaponic thinking, you can design a soil that is very traditional lake soil but operates efficiently in the context of an aquaponic system. In for example, uh, on my farm where we use coconut husk until it wet right down on until it's like pure humus, um, is, oh dear, right? So on we farm, why? All right, this is the final talk that I can put out here under this history of aquaponics talk, and this talk is the comparison of a flow through aquaponic system versus a totally recirculating aquaponic system, right? Um, I don't know how this get onto the history, but I mean, when it comes to water flow, there is basically no benefit between fully recirculating the water in an aquaponic system. In that, because Mother Nature operates in ratios, it just so happens that the amount of water plants use is also equivalent to the amount of water that would exit a ecosystem of fish in order to maintain the quality of water. Or let me put that another way, right? If you got fish in a tank stocked at the correct density and everything, you will have to change out about 1/4 of the water volume a week in order to keep it healthy, right? With relative ease. You could get more precise and more science in that, but if you change out 1/4 of the water, empty out the 1/4 of the water, dirty water, and put in fresh water in a aquatic system that is ideally stocked, that would maintain good water quality. Now, when you take out that 1/4 of water in there, and this is all scientifically backed, but it's actually Mother Nature, because she's working ratios and got checks and balances along the way. If you take out that 1/4 of the water, the amount of manure contained inside that water, right, is, and the volume of that water, the amount of manure contained in the water and the actual volume of the water could support, is in the same range to support X amount of plants. In other words, again, you could have a flow through aquaponic system where you feed the fish, then when you clean the filters, you wash the filters, you could put that into the plant section and the plants can use that efficiently, right? And the same amount of fish can be the same ratio to the plants as if it was a totally recirculating water system, in that after the plants use it, it will go back to the fish. Now, the reason for recirculating aquaponics being so prevalent is that it's very simple to operate at the backyard level. In a backyard type system, under 1,000 gallons, a fully recirculating system, but it ain't easy peasy. It's only when you get up to commercial size volumes of water that the movement as such, water and the filtration of water is got to look at it more efficiently. But for the backyard setting, a single loop type system is almost ideal because it's less maintenance, it's just way better to run a single loop backyard situation. Whereas a drain to waste is more preferable for a commercial type system. And of course, you know, we do drain to waste at Bears Village aquaponics in the commercial side. Uh, and drain to waste also opens up different opportunities for different soil types to be used. And by soil, I mean media or medium less. So that's it for today. My thoughts on the history of aquaponics, kind of vary there a little bit. But as I get better and do these videos, you know, I can do over these videos 3 or 4 times until I get them right. But thanks for watching.